Yeah. Hello. Quick share on something that's very important for me, and I think it's a crucial insight and experience within the KI approach that I do. And I also think that it's very important to understand this once you start somatic inquiry and processing. So sometimes when I see my clients, when I work with people in sessions, and I see them inquiring and doing inquiry from and it can be subtle, doing inquiry from a somewhat unconscious identification, identifying with trauma response, resistance. If I see them being in unconscious identification with that and inquiring from there, from a trauma response, basically, I always stop them, because we can do everything conscious through inquiry, but sometimes I just stop them, and I just tell them, like, okay, just stop inquiry now, leave inquiry for a moment, can you just be here, just hold this energy, that emotional energy for a moment, and just feel it without any intention. Can you please just feel it without any intention? Just get familiar with it, just feel it, just connect with it, as if you are holding a scared or a lost child or something. Feel and look at this emotion in that way. Feel this in that way, as if you are just holding a lost child there, a scared child, you don't want to do anything with the child, with that feeling or emotion in the body. You just want to hold it for a moment, because emotions especially when repressed for a long time, they actually behave like, in our bodies, they actually behave like lost children or something, like scared lost children just coming out of a dark forest or something, as we bring more awareness into those sensations in our bodies. So I just tell them also, just stop and just connect with it, just hold it in that way, as if you're holding a scared child. We can't fool our emotions. We can't fool the emotions in our bodies. We can't fool it. We can't fool ourselves, just as we can't fool a child, they feel, they sense where we are coming from, so I tell them, just hold it. And once I see that they feel this deeper connection, this holding the emotion, feeling the emotion without any intention, I just tell them that whenever it wants to talk, it will talk, Once the child, the emotion, that thing in the body, that energy in the body feels connected, it just starts to speak. Just when this child feels safe and connected, they just start to share, they just start to speak, like the child starts to say to their mom, like, I'm scared, or something happened and I was angry, I don't know what to do, so the emotions are like innocent, like children, and so after me telling them to connect with it and explaining them to just be with it, and it will just start to talk, because during inquiry we often ask these inquiry questions, regardless of if you are doing a second or third dimension KI. We have these questions, like feeling into the sensation and asking like simple questions, like, what is this emotion, or what is this sensation saying here? What am I feeling here? When did it start? When was the first time when I felt that way? Like, what would it say if it had a voice? Or just gently asking, what would you like to say or show to me? Like these very simple questions. But if my experience is that if I'm really connected with it in the way that I just described, then the connection is just so deep Intimacy is just so deep. The oneness is just so deep with the emotion that the words just start to come. The words just start to come. And then the words come. So the programming, the unconscious programming and mechanism that's happening through that repressed emotion starts to open, And I didn't even have to ask a question or something. So that's a very important part of KI, of doing this deep somatic inquiry, to really go into connection mode when you do these somatic inquiries like KI. And because if you do it from a trauma response, from unconscious identification with the trauma, the resistance, etc., then you just want to get rid of it, or you just want to overcome it or transcend it or eliminate it or whatever. It doesn't work. It's an outside-in approach, because of the unconscious identification. So it's still, of course, it works to some degree, but maybe you just can't really maybe you can't reach those deep unconscious layers. You can't really bring up through the connection what it wants to actually say, those really visceral, deep words which are coming from the emotion or the sensation. Because in the same way, when you want the child to say something, they are confused, then they start to think, or they don't know what to say, like, what should I respond or whatever. It's the connection that's the key. And if you're connected in that way during inquiry, that's the inside-out approach, through the deep connection and intimacy with the sensations in your body. Yeah, then it just starts to speak, like, yeah, I'm hurt. I don't know what happened. I'm hurt. I don't want this anymore. It's too much. So the energy is already there, and it's just coming, and it's like moving together. It's not like something, a separate self that's identified with the inquirer and the trauma tries to inquire into something, but it's like moving as one, moving together, with that sensation or emotion. There is no separation, and just doing it from oneness. It's like a dance, like dancing together, moving together with that emotion and with the words which are coming from there, from this deep connectedness within yourself. So that's a key point of the inside-out approach of integral KI. It's also a key point, because if you really practice this, if you really practice this and get used to this type of connectedness with yourself, bringing awareness into the inner body in that way, then I'm talking from my experience. Since I do this, I feel more aware, more connected with my inner body, and I feel more connected with others and with everything, this interconnectedness, this feeling of interconnectedness is just there because I'm there, I'm aware of my inner body, I'm there, I'm connected with the inner body, with myself. And love comes out of that. That's this love that emanates from this connectedness. It's kind of like an awakened state, like it's an awakened state, being awake to my inner experience, to my inner self, if that's the word, I don't know. And this connection is love, actually. It's self-love, connecting with myself in that way. And through that love, through that connectedness, I connect with everyone else and with everything else, also, like everything, literally everything, And so connection is love, and KI teaches me this, simple inquiry teaches me this. And you see, that's why it's integral KI, because it all happens here, it all happens here. You connect with the sensations, emotions, your inner experience, your inner self, whatever your inner self is feeling, going through your experience. There's no separation. There's no difference between awareness or presence and between the experience that you go through. There is no separation there. And through the connection, you can make it conscious that there is no separation. And this connection and love can be there with everything. This is how we connect. And you don't have to, that's also a big misunderstanding in the spiritual mind. And it was for me also that I have to be in an enlightened state or a transcended state, an enlightened state or something, an emotionless, fully empty state or something, to be able to feel this interconnectedness. And that's not my experience anymore. And of course, within the awakening path, we have different experiences, like deeper connection with ourselves and through that with others. And sometimes it's just coming out of repression, and it's the whole story. Everything is seen within that experience, within the unmoving self or awareness. Everything is just arising in that, like reaching or touching the bottom of that awakened state. It's not the right word, this awareness, aware state or something like this. It's hard to put it into words, but what I wanted to share is only this, that maybe just catch yourself. And I'm saying it mostly to KI practitioners. They understand more what I'm sharing here because they are already doing KI. That catch yourself if you inquire from unconscious identification with the trauma response, resistance, and just sense the energy if you feel that you are inquiring from that. And the unconscious identification with the inquirer, like a separate self who wants to get rid of things because that's kind of subtly violent or something. And just feel that energy if it's there, and then switch from outside in mode to inside out mode, and just go into connection. And then the inquiry, the words and the energies will open from there, from that connection and love, Because for me also inquiry, when I inquire, it's like there are energies, emotions which open during inquiry, and I'm doing it from awareness. It's I don't know if it's a good way to explain this. Like I'm there without any intention, without wanting anything from that emotion, sensation, or thought or energy. When I bring these things up, I'm just in a very, very deep connection with it, with deep intimacy and feeling with it. It's just oneness. I don't want anything from it. That's why it starts to speak to me from very deep. And just the open space to that. I'm just the deep listening, a deep awareness to that sensation, which wants to open to me. And through that, the inquiry happens from inside out. I'm just waiting for the words. It's just a very deep channel connection and maybe like commitment towards that sensation, the emotional energy that opens, Yeah. So the opening happens from inside. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to share today. And yeah, I vote for connection. That is love. I have only love for whatever is coming up in me, and during inquiry process, somatic inquiry process, and no intention, just open space and love towards what's coming up. I just want to see it. I just want to love it. And that's all. That's all. It's almost like an unintentional inquiry, unintentional opening from the inside. And inquiry, somatic processing, making things conscious and processing them happens through that deep connection, connectedness, and loving what's coming up. Something like this. So yeah, let me know how it goes for you, if that's your experience too. Yeah, let's speak about that. Maybe in the next group meeting that I'm going to hold, or in the comment section. Yeah. Thank you.